There's certainly a number of questions or concerns around Tennessee's offensive line. They returned 3 true starters from a season ago. Their other returners are moving up and down the line to assume a new role this season. But you have guys like Cooper Mace, who is most likely their most important returner from a season ago. He missed a good portion of 2023 due to injury, but he comes into a senior campaign here inside 2024. And then you have newcomers from the transfer portal like Lance Hurd, his presence flipping John Campbell Jr. from left to right tackle. So how is this team adjusting to this new look? Well, it's open competition. I'm Paige Dower. This is the Field Pass. Now, while Tennessee sports just 3 true returning starters to the offensive line, they have about 8 guys that have true valuable playing experience. Now, 3 of their returners, like Cooper Mace, John Campbell Jr., and Andre Carrick, all are coming back from a season that featured injury at some point. For Campbell and for Carrick, it was at the end of the season. So getting guys like them back up to full speed has been a monumental task for this offensive line. But good news, it sounds like they've been able to do that in practice. They look strong. Cooper May says he feels a lot stronger since this time last season because around this time, on August 9th, he had hernia surgery that kept him from the first 4 games of the season. He was able to return for the final 9. In the final 9 stretch, he made an immediate impact. He was a stabilizing presence for Joe Milton and that offensive line. He didn't allow a single sack and only 1 QB hit in 531 snaps. And then you have John Campbell Jr., who we mentioned at the top, going from left tackle to right tackle this season with the addition of Lance Hurd on the team. But a year ago in John Campbell Jr.'s first season at Tennessee, he earned the starting job at left tackle, though he missed the last few games due to a lower body injury. But those first 9, he appeared in 538 snaps, and he only gave up 1 sack and 1 hit during that stretch. Now switching over to the right tackle position, offensive line coach Glenn Ellerby says so far it's been a pretty seamless transition. Now Carrick, he started at left guard for the first 4 games of the year. He played in total of 5 games, missing the last 8 games due to a lower body injury. And when you bring your attention to the health of the offensive line, oftentimes attention is always going to revert back to that center position, and rightfully so. A season ago, Cooper Mace missing the first 4 games, hernia surgery. Thankfully, they had a player like Ollie Elaney who was able to step in and really take care of his own while he was filling in for Cooper Mace. This season, they don't necessarily have the luxury of experience for guys to move up and down the line to fill in for Cooper Mace should an injury maybe happen again this season. But how the team is approaching that question, that concern, is Glenn Ellerby says, it's open competition. The competition is going to answer that question for Tennessee on maybe who's the number 2 and 3 at that spot, because at the end of the day, Glenn Ellerby says that he wants to be able to rotate guys throughout the season. So he says the old adage, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. We've got great competition. Vying and Sat probably are taking the most of those reps and competing. Sat's coming along at a high rate. Vying's improved in a ton of areas. Max Anderson and Jesse Perry have also taken some center reps. You always have Dane, as if a bomb went off, he did last year if he had to. But we're doing a bunch of different guys, and we're in day 5 of camp, got 2 more weeks. But the competition kind of sorted itself out.
The center position is also an interesting spot as well, as Cooper Mace will highlight in just a second, because oftentimes a player who's playing center in college ball was often playing a tackle position in high school. So Mace has really taken it upon himself to coach up that younger group to be prepared and adequate at that center position this season.
Kind of like I said with the D-line, there's been guys that have added in through the transfer portal that are here now and in significant roles. And there's also guys that are that have been here my whole time, like me and Sprags, who have, kind of just gone here and kind of developed the whole way through. So it's been really cool to see everybody kind of mix together and make one unit.
Coop is definitely a very knowledgeable guy in this offense. I'd say not only Coop, but John Campbell, Larry Johnson, Dane Davis, they've all poured into me and taught me small things that can help me in the game, and even big things that I might have to change as I come to this league.
What's it like immediately kind of having that brotherhood type of vibe on the line?
Yeah, definitely. And then in the time I spent in recruiting, like getting to know all the other guys, and not only those guys, but the guys in my class, it was really easy to click with everybody.
Now Bennett, he wasn't here for spring ball. He enrolled a little later than most people do this day and age. He came here for summer ball, but he said during his time away or before he arrived to campus, he was on a number of Zoom calls, constantly talking to LRB and the coaching staff. He was also putting in a ton of work in his training camp down in Houston and his hometown area. Despite not being here in spring ball, he's been able to make a good impact while being here at Tennessee. You know, guys like Cooper Mays really taking notice to the strong base and foundation that Bennett has. But over at left guard, it's another area where Glenn Ellerby says it's open for competition. They want to have the best guy in that spot, obviously, but they also want to be able to rotate guys in and out of that spot so that they can last longer in the season, be fresher in the season. It's been a message we've talked about all during training camp, one they're really driving home here at Tennessee and hoping to be able to take that next step in the program.
And I think you always let the competition sort itself out. Andre's worked left guard, Dane's worked left guard, Lamps worked left guard, Shams working left guard. Even BG has bounced in there, who were kind of moving guys around day to day. And at the end of the day, whoever is the best, that guy's going to play, and then we're going to have to play somebody behind them. Like, it's going to be a long year. Coach Ives make an emphasis on us rotating.
Now, the ability to rotate is a luxury any team would welcome, but it comes with a major qualifier. There can't be a massive drop-off, a gap the coaching staff is trying to close as camp wears on. And like we mentioned at the top, one player that's rotated or flipped down the line is John Campbell Jr., who enters his 7th season of college ball. Now, that vast amount of his college experience, college playing time, has been his greatest asset in being able to move from the left tackle to the right tackle.
Yeah, I put in a ton of work this offseason. When we were on breaks, he's always sending me videos of him doing work, getting sets, asking for critiques. Is a meticulous note taker. So he's, in my opinion, looked flawless, right? Like, just done a phenomenal job, and all that credit is due to him.
Also at tackle, it's Dane Davis, who's coming off another strong year. He saw action in all 13 games for the 3rd straight year, and then also made 3 consecutive starts at right tackle to close out his campaign. Maybe the offensive line doesn't have as much depth in every single spot up and down the line like the defensive line does, who we'll hear from later this week. Some spots are a little crowded, and it'd be the spot that Dane Davis is starting for a starting position in, but he says, honestly, the open competition mentality is only elevating the room.
Yeah, there's a lot of senior experience there. There's 8 guys that have played a lot of football together, which is good to have in an offensive line room. And then there's a lot of young talent coming in too, and those guys are working hard. So I feel like we're all meshing well together. Everybody's playing as hard as they can, you know, trying to get on the field. So.
Now, Dane Davis says the easiest way to see how it's elevated the way that the team competes is how they're finishing plays. And he says that they're actually keeping score, keeping count of how strong they finish each play at practice.
Man, just playing snap to whistle as hard as we can. We track loafs during practice, and we've been really harping on lately, cutting those loafs out. And that's playing from snap to the echo of the whistle, not just, you know, playing the whole play as hard as you can, sacrificing your body on the line for another guy beside you. And I feel like that's what the motto of this O-line is.
Well, tomorrow is an off day for Tennessee, but we have a number of great stories coming up on fulldisclosure.com. It's our new website that we just launched. I mentioned a little bit of that in yesterday's show, but we have a number of great stories coming up on there, like Jackson Lampley and how he's dedicating this season to his late grandfather, and then also other content on the offensive line. We'll hear from the defensive line on Wednesday, so make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on that upcoming content. I'll talk to you guys then.